Madam Chair, just let me express my appreciation and gratitude to Ms. Witherspoon and Dr. Sawyer. This could not have been an easy time. The choice to leave public service, to which you have dedicated so many years, must have been a very, very difficult one. And what I would say to members of the press who are reporting this, don't take the easy way out. Don't just print up the press releases that you're going to receive from the administration describing what happened here today and what happened in the past. This would not be the first time that we have seen people who have distinguished themselves through service and courage become the victims of a campaign in an attempt to diminish their stature and their role. You've already seen it start here today. When we hear that there was a lack of leadership at the ARB, and that reference is made directly about the people sitting here. When we hear someone who's not even a part of the administration anymore describe their characterizations of the pressure they felt, the conversations that they experienced, the emails that they received as fiction, I suggest to you the smear has begun. And as members of the press, you have an obligation to dig to find out what the truth is, not merely to accept the press releases. They're not even, the bodies aren't even cold yet, and they've started them. It is incomprehensible to me that we don't have representatives from the administration who can answer questions of this panel who were direct participants in the conversations. And so we will do our job the best way we can, in spite of the administration's attempts to limit our ability to uncover the truth, to protect this board. That's what I see my job as, protecting the integrity of this board and the responsibility and the challenges that they've been handed through the implementation authorship of KB 32. Make no mistake about it, the seeds of this conflict were sown on October 18th of 2006. October 18th of 2006, when the governor signed his executive order. When the governor attempted to obtain through executive order, we failed to get through negotiations. That's where this started. And the interference with the ARB rolled out after the executive order was signed. Our obligation as a panel and members of the legislature is to the 37 million people in this state. And as Mr. Laird so ably described, a year and a half of negotiations with stakeholders, with the administration, with the various boards, coming to a compromise that was designed to achieve a fair and balanced approach to what is clearly the single most important issue of this age to California, to the United States, to this planet. And the legislature will not step aside and let all of that work be undermined by telephone calls to a board on the morning before they adopt measures, by email designed to intimidate and threaten. I sit as the chair of the Transportation Committee in the Assembly. I'm charged with the responsibility of writing legislation for goods movement and air quality. I want my decisions to be based on science. I want to know that the partnership with EPA and with the ARB is going to be one of mutual respect and dignity. I do not want to have the apprehension that agreements, discussions, and accords will be unwoven through a telephone call or through an anonymous email. I don't think term limits goes far enough. Quite frankly, I think the legislature ought to entertain consideration of changing the composition of the ARB so that the governor does not have all of the appointments. The responsibility is so great and the oversight so important that representatives appointed by the Assembly and the Senate should sit at the table when we are discussing exactly these kinds of issues. What better way to ensure independence of the board than to make sure that all the appointments are not made by any single one individual? I would tell you to take a look at the composition of the California Coastal Commission. It makes some people unhappy. They have the responsibility for 11,000 miles of coastline, monitoring development, making land use decisions, science-based to preserve and protect that coastline. 4 belong to the governor, 4 from the Assembly, and 4 from the Senate. There is no single concentration of power in the Coastal Commission as we have seen in the ARB. And what we have learned today, and what we've learned over the past couple of weeks, is that a series of disciplined and dedicated efforts to undermine an agency with a sterling reputation can unfortunately be effective and can drive out 2 people who have institutional knowledge that we are going to find extremely difficult to replace. I think Mary Nichols will do a good job, but she can only be as successful as the independence she's granted. She can only be successful for all of us if the administration takes a hands-off approach and ceases its meddling with the internal operations of the ARB.